very warm and pleasant good afternoon to one and all. Welcome to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 22nd August 2023. Starting with the today's agenda of the day, the editorial portion that we are covering from the Indian Express is based on the recent handbook that is being come up from the Honorable Supreme Court, followed by the news update, which includes the national news, international news, important days, sports and awards, and lastly, the legal news update of the day. Now, starting with the editorial portion, which says about slut, seductress are simply women, eve teasing is street sexual harassment. What Supreme Court handbook on gender stereotype says. Now, we are talking about a very important handbook that has been released by the Honorable Supreme Court in the recent past days. Now, we will understand each and every aspect of this particular editorial and why we are talking about this editorial. Now, first of all, we will understand the context. Recently, the Honorable Supreme Court launched a handbook on combating gender stereotypes for identifying and removing the use of words and phrases which are loaded with gender stereotypes in judgments and court language. The Honorable Chief Justice of India stated in this regard that this is to assist judges and the legal community to identify, understand, and combat stereotypes about women in legal discourse. It contains a glossary of gender unjust terms and suggests alternate words and phrases which may be used while drafting pleading as well as orders and judgment. Now, it is for the lawyers as well as the judge to follow. Now, when we're talking about the handbook, we need to understand what is the handbook all about. The Supreme Court handbook is a 30-page booklet that aims to assist judges and the legal community in identifying, understanding, and combating stereotypes about women. The handbook identifies common stereotypical words and phrases used about women, many of them routinely found in the judgment. Now, if there is a particular topic that we're talking about, we need to understand what was the purpose or what is the aim of that particular handbook. The handbook aims to explain what stereotypes are and help judges identify and avoid such stereotypes by identifying the language that promotes gender stereotypes and offering alternative words and phrases. Identify common reasoning patterns that are based on gender stereotypes, particularly about women, and discussing why they are incorrect, and highlighting binding decisions of the Supreme Court of India that have rejected the stereotypes and can be utilized by judges to dispel gender stereotypes. Now, coming up to the next particular perspective of this editorial, what stereotypes are identified and what alternatives are suggested. Now, what are the words that are being used and what that particular words are being replaced. Now, please refer to the next slide for this. Also, in case you want to have a look at the handbook, which we would highly encourage, the link of the handbook is accessible in the video description of this particular description. Now, this is some of the few stereotype promoting languages on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, the alternative language, which is the preferred language the court has suggested. We can discuss few like a spinster can be, the alternate language can be preferred as unmarried woman, transsexual, transgender, child prostitute, child who has been trafficked. Career woman can be replaced by just woman. Now, the prostitute, the alternate preferred word that court has released is sex worker. So this is some of the few alternate languages that we have made up in the sheet. If you want a detailed handbook, we will be posting that particular link in the description itself. Now, Judgments containing stereotypical terms. In the 2070 Supreme Court ruling awarding the death penalty for the convicts in the Delhi gang rape case, the verdict repeatedly uses the word ravaged to say raped. It is absolutely obvious that the accused persons had found an object for enjoyment in her, and as is evident, they were obsessed with the singular purpose. Stands any feeling to ravish her as they liked, treat her as they felt, and if we allow ourselves to say the gross, sadistic, and the beastly instinctual pleasures came to the forefront when they, after ravishing her, thought it to be just a matter of routine to throw her along with her friend out of the bus and crush them, the Honorable Court said. A girl aged 24 years is weak and vulnerable, capable of being exploited. Exploited is the word in many ways. A 2070 judgment of the Kerala High Court. Here the word exploited is being used. Now, why is it important for judges to use the right word? Now, when we are talking about the handbook of the Supreme Court, we need to look at why it is very important for the judges. The handbook argues that the language that a judge uses reflects not only their interpretation of the law, but their perception of society as well. Even when the use of stereotypes does not alter the outcome of a case, stereotypical language may reinforce ideas contrary to our constitutional ethos. Language is critical to the life of the law. Words are the vehicle through which the values of the law are communicated. Words transmit the ultimate intention of the lawmaker or the judge to the nation. Have there been similar efforts in other countries as well? There have been projects in other countries pushed by both academia and practitioner, which hold up a mirror of the court's practice. For example, Women's Courts of Canada write shadow judgments on equality law. In India, Indian Feminist Judgment Project also rewrites judgment with the feminist critique. That's all for the today's editorial session. I hope you got every intricate points and every perspective of this particular handbook. Now, starting up with the national news of the day. Bhagwan Birsa Munda Jodaraste scheme. Maharashtra government to link all tribal villages in state with main roads. The state cabinet has decided to implement the Bhagwan Birsa Munda Jodaraste scheme in Maharashtra to connect all tribal villages in 17 districts of the state with main roads. The project is estimated to cost rupees 5,000 crore and nearly 6,838 kilometers of roads will be construed as a part of the scheme. Earlier, in the budget session, the Deputy Chief Minister and Finance Minister Devendra Fadnavis had announced the implementation of the scheme to connect all the tribal padas by perennial roads. The Tribal Development Department will have a separate committee for these roads and the Public Works Department will build them. Now, the question for the today's TNA. Which article of the Indian Constitution calls upon the state to promote the educational and economic interest of the weaker sections of society, and in particular of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and to protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation? Do comment, do tell me in the comment box, and we will announce the winner tomorrow. Now, coming up to the next national news of the day, India's first village atlas is of Mayem in Goa. Goa Chief Minister Mr. Pramod Sawant released a biodiversity atlas of Mayem village in North Goa, which he termed as India's first village atlas. This atlas gives a social cultural history of Mayem village that dates back to 12th century. Now, threats to the biodiversity. The village of the Mayem in Goa is facing a troubling challenge of biodiversity degradation, where the gradual destabilization of its delicate ecosystem equilibrium has raised significant uneasiness. Human interventions, urban expansion, and altering land utilization patterns are imposing undue strain upon ecosystem that once coexisted harmoniously, resulting in their vulnerable state. Now, what is the additional fact we are quoting here? Minister of Environment and Climate Change in Goa is Mr. Nilesh Kavra. Now, what are the TNA questions for the day about Goa? Who was the ruler of Goa before it became a part of India? What is the official language of Goa? And when did Goa become a part of India? Whosoever candidate gives all the correct answers with all the TNA questions in line on a regular basis, we will be awarding them with few giveaways from the organization LawSikho. Do tell me in the comment box all the answers, which will also help you to clear your exams. Now, Additional Solicitor General Aishwarya Bhati appointed to Commonwealth Military Justice Body, second Indian to be a part of the group. It is a proud moment for India. Additional Solicitor General Aishwarya Bhati has been appointed member of the Commonwealth Military Justice Body. This makes her only the second Indian to be a part of the group. In January this year, Punjab and Haryana High Court lawyer Major Navdeep Singh, retired, was made a part of 5-member advisory committee on military justice of the Commonwealth Secretariat. The Commonwealth Secretariat is engaged in a project to assist and promote the reform of military justice system. Now, a few information about Additional Solicitor General Aishwarya Bhati. She is a senior advocate of the Supreme Court and currently the Additional Solicitor General of India. She had represented the petitioners in the landmark judgment, which authorized permanent commission to women officers of the defense services. Now, coming up to the next national news of the day. Sprinter Asian Games medalist Dutee Chand faces 4-year ban for doping. Ace Indian athlete Dutee Chand, the current national 100-meter record holder, has received a 4-year ban from the National Anti-Doping Agency for failing an out-of-competition doping test for selective androgen receptor modulators in December last year. Her ban period will be effective from January 3rd, 2023. This means she will be out of action till January 3rd, 2027. The ban would also mean that she has to forfeit her medals, points, and prizes from the date her sample was collected, which was 5th December 2022. All the competitive results obtained by the athlete from the date of her sample collection shall stand disqualified. The Anti-Doping Disciplinary Panel chairperson, Chaitanya Mahajan, said in its order. The Anti-Doping Disciplinary Panel order also stated that it was satisfied with the athlete explanation on the source of injection of the prohibited substance. However, Dutee could not establish that no significant fault or negligence occurred on her part. The national news coming up is on the Yes Bank introduces its mobile banking app, Iris by Yes Bank. Yes Bank has introduced its mobile banking app, Iris by Yes Bank, which aims to reform India's digital banking landscape. Equipped with host of features, the app comprises a sleek and intuitive user interface that aims to offer a simplified banking experience for users of all age groups and backgrounds. Iris by Yes Bank is a comprehensive financial proposition that has been co-created based on the valued feedback received from the Yes Bank customers. Speaking about the app, Mr. Prashant Kumar, Managing Director and CEO, Yes Bank said, "We at Yes Bank take pride in our ability to leverage technology to bring forth path-breaking solutions that offer customers with a holistic banking experience. Iris by Yes Bank is yet another step in the same direction, which aims to transform the way customers avail banking-related services. It is pertinent to note that the app has been developed in-house based on feedback from our customers, which makes it unique proposition in terms of features, user experience, and benefit. The app is available on both Google Play Store and App Store and can be seamlessly downloaded on Android and iOS-based smartphones. The next national news of the day, Jitendra Singh unveils new lotus variety Namoh 108, says a grand gift to PM Modi. Dr. Jitendra Singh, Union Minister of State, Independent Charge, Science and Technology, Personal Public Grievances, Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, has unveiled the new variety lotus flower developed by Lucknow Institute CSIR, that is Council of Science and Industrial Research, National Botanical Research Institute, that has 108 petals. The lotus is named as NBRI Namoh 108. Again, it's very important for the examination perspective. The lotus is named as NBRI Namoh 108. Dedicating to the nation, the Namoh 108 lotus variety and its product at NBRI, Lucknow, Dr. Jitendra Singh said, considering the religious importance of the lotus flower and the digit 108, this combination gives an important identity to this variety. The lotus has 108 petals and was discovered several years ago in Manipur, kept at the institute as a part of its collection of flowers and plants, on which the institute conducts research. However, it was not until 4 years ago that one of the scientists discovered that it has 108 petals, a number that, as per Ajit Kumar Shashane, Director CSRI NBRI, was of a religious significance to Hinduism. Now, when we are talking about the institute named Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, it was established by the Government of India in September 1942 as an autonomous body that has emerged as the largest research and development organization in India. President Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Prime Minister, Vice President Dr. Jitendra Singh, and Director General Dr. Mrs. N. Kalasaibi. Now, the next national news of the day, Himachal CM declares entire state natural calamity affected area, following the heavy loss of life and property caused by incessant rains that triggered landslides and flood. Chief Minister Mr. Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu on August 18 declared Himachal Pradesh a natural calamity affected area. Roads connecting villages to highways and national highways were damaged badly. Water and power supply schemes were badly hit. Besides, agriculture and horticulture sectors have also suffered huge losses. Torrential rains, floods, and landslides killed around 330 people, with over 12,000 houses are damaged. The state has suffered a loss of over 10,000 crore. While urging the central government to provide assistance, he declared the state as the natural calamity affected area. Now, when we talk about the heavy rainfall, what was the reason behind the heavy rainfall? The northward movement of the monsoon throat and its interaction with a weak western disturbance are responsible for the heavy rains in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. The monsoon throat is an elongated low pressure area which extends from a so-called heat low, a low pressure over the seas, over Pakistan to the head of Bay of Bengal region, parts of Odisha, West Bengal and Bangladesh. Now, coming up to the international news of the day, Harrison Ford has a new Peruvian snake species named after him. Researchers from Germany, the United States, and Peru have named a recently discovered species of snake after actor Harrison Ford. Ford famously played Indiana Jones, who himself had some perilous encounters with snakes. German Society of Herpetology and Herpetoculture announced the naming of, it's a very technical name. You can just, spell it by the spelling given to recognize the Hollywood actors' environmental advocacy. Ford's namesake snake measures 16 inches, 40.6 centimeters in length, and is yellowish brown with scattered black blotches, a black belly, and a vertical streak over its copper colored eye. The snake was discovered in May 2022. Now, the next international news of the day, Ghana's Park KFC Asare win 2023 BBC News Komla Dumar Award. The Ghanaian TV presenter and journalist Park Kewasi Asare has won the 2023 BBC News Komla Dumar Award. The 36-year-old is the eighth recipient of the award and the first to come from Ghana, like the late Komla Dumar. Asare is currently the head of the business news at Ghana's private TV3 channel, where he has worked for 7 years as one of its main news anchor. Now, let us talk about who is Komla Dumar Award. What the additional information that we can fetch. It is launched in 2015. The award was created to honor the memory of the distinguished Ghanaian broadcaster Komla Dumar, who presented on BBC Africa, BBC World News, main presenter of program called Focus on Africa, known for campaigning robust journalism and commitment to reporting African stories comprehensively and authentically. He made a significant impact on Africa and the rest of the world. Previous award recipients are Dingin Daba, Jonah Bioya, Victoria Rubadiri, Solomon Servanja, Veyaga Moavra, Amina Yuguda, Didi Akinyelur, and Nancy Kakungira, the inaugural winner. The award is presented each year to an outstanding individual living and working in Africa who combines strong journalism skills on air flair and an exceptional talent in telling African stories with the ambition and potential to become a star of the future. The winner is given a 3-month training and development contract in BBC News. The next international news of the day, FIFA Women World Cup 2023. Spain claimed their first Women's World Cup title with 1-0 victory over England. Spain secured their first ever Women's World Cup title with 1-0 win over England at the 2023 FIFA Women World Cup final in Sydney on Sunday. This was the courtesy of a film strike from Olga Carmona from the left wing that beat England goalkeeper Mary Eaves in the first half. Carmona, a left back, has scored in back-to-back World Cup games for Spain. The Spanish team has a tournament best 18 goals in World Cup. With this win, Spain also became only the second nation to clinch both the men's and the women's World Cup after Germany. Spain's victory comes despite a near mutiny by players last year. 15 players said they were stepping away from the national team for their mental health, while also calling for a more professional environment. 3 of those players, Ona Batley, Etana Bonmati, and Mariona Caldenti, reconciled with the federation and were at the World Cup. Now, the FIFA Women's World Cup is an international association football competition contested by the senior women's national team of the members of Federation Internationale Dame Football Association, the sport's international governing body. Now, Russia Luna 25 has crashed on moon surface. Russia's Luna 25 has crashed on moon surface The country's space agency sets on Sunday in a disappointing end to its first mission to the lunar surface 47 years after the last landing by the former Soviet Union. This leaves India Chandrayaan-3 on the course to become the first spacecraft to land near the lunar south pole. The Luna 25 was scheduled to make a soft landing on the lunar surface on August 21, 2 days ahead of the Chandrayaan 3. Both were supposed to land in the region around the moon's south pole. But the Russian spacecraft developed problems Saturday as it tried to move into a pre-landing orbit. Now, the course of events. On August 11, Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, launched its Luna 25 spacecraft on board a Soyuz-2 rocket from the Vostochny Cosmodrome. Luna 25 consisted of a lander and its mission was of soft land near the moon's south pole, and there study the optical, physical and the chemical properties of moon dust and moon soil and the atmosphere. On August 20, Roscosmos issued a statement stating that Luna 25 had suffered a glitch and crashed on moon surface the previous day, ending the mission in a failure. Now, the legal updates of the day. Physical relationship with wife aged about 15 years can't be termed as rape by Delhi High Court upholds Muslim man's acquittal. This is in the case of State Government of NCT of Delhi versus Muhammad K. The Delhi High Court has upheld the acquittal of a Muslim man in a rape case, observing that his physical relationship with a child victim aged about 15 years, who was also his wife, cannot be termed as rape. The division bench of Justice Suresh Kumar Kade and Justice Neena Bansal Krishna held, we find that since the child victim was the wife who was almost 15 years of age, the physical relationship of the respondent with the victim cannot be termed as rape. The respondent has been rightly acquitted. Coming up with the next legal update of the day, extrajudicial confession, weak piece of evidence, can be relied on if proven to be voluntarily truthful and free of inducement by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Murthy versus State of Tamil Nadu. The Supreme Court recently held that while extrajudicial confessions are typically considered weak piece of evidence, they can still serve as grounds for conviction if proven to be voluntarily truthful and free of inducement. The court must have convinced of the reliability of the confession, and this evaluation takes into account the surrounding circumstances. The bench of Justices Abhay S. Oka and Sanjay Carroll further added such confession should be free of any inducement. The evidentiary value of such confession also depends upon the person to whom it is made. Going by the natural course of human conduct, normally a person would confide about a crime committed by him only with such person in whom he has implicit faith. That's all for the today's news update and the thorough newspaper analysis covering the editorial section. Thank you. Keep learning and keep supporting.